Okay, I think we're online-ish. Just double check everything here. Test audio 1, 2, 3. Test audio 1, 2, 3. Sounds a bit loud, maybe. Test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. All right, that should be all right. Okay, so welcome to Sparrow Country Control Rig Integration Livestream Part 1. So developing Sparrow Country, a developer's perspective. So that's a series I'm going to be putting together about effectively how I built Sparrow Country. And I have a document at the URL provided there that you can follow if you wish to sort of follow along the series. And I'm Brad, your host with Binary Gauss Studio. And so without further ado, let's jump into it. Oh, of course, I'm stuck. It's okay, I'll unstuck my face. There we go. And the green screen isn't the greatest right now, but should be all right. All right, so you can see my desktop here. Basically, I'm just going to be assembling a document and using Blender VSE. So I've got a few Blender documents here that I have open. So this is the VSE storyboard that I'll be putting together. And this is the Blender file that contains the bird character. It's armature and rig. That I then export into Unreal. So I've got Unreal open as well. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to get into today. This stream might be a little short as well. I don't plan it to be super long. I'm going to do them in parts. Sorry if that was loud. My mic is still a little hot, I think. Hello. Okay, hopefully that's all right. Yeah, so I've begun preparing a document here that sort of outlines most of the process involved. I'm not going to get into every detail through this series. I'm going to basically cover what I have done and just show examples. And the end goal will be to create a final, well, I say YouTube, but a video that I can post. You know, that's hopefully in the 10 to 20 minute range. And to produce that, though, I'm going to use these live streams to build that up. And so that's going to take a few sessions on my side. As you can see, I have a blank VSE, Blender VSE, which is the video sequence editor. A blank slate here, so I'm going to basically be bringing stuff into it from maybe other Blender projects I've had. And over time, I'm going to take these live streams, excuse me, break them down, and put them into the Blender VSE. So that'll take me probably a week at least to get this control rig one done. I would say a week. I mean, hopefully it's shorter. Welcome to the chat, by the way. Welcome. I'm still pretty new to all this, so I apologize if, like, you know, my green screen's not the greatest. And I just make tons of rookie mistakes and stuff, but I've got getting through the flow, more and more. Getting the hang of it. So, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. So what I'd like to do is go over my document section by section. I'm going to expand out each area and I'm going to put screenshots in here. I'll be posting the document separately from the video, but it'll probably embed the video in the document. So whatever I have here eventually will be on the web somewhere too. And yeah, so basically in this video, documenting how I set up the bird meta rig in Blender. So that'll be kind of the first step here. And then used control rig in UE5 to animate the bird, its wings, facial expressions, and feet IK. It's the inverse kinematics. So I can even expand on that here, inverse. Sometimes I like to do it like that, I think. Yeah, so the start of it was it was an interesting process, right? Over here I talk about the modeling of it, but the model was pretty easy to put together, to be honest with you. I took it from a photograph and in Blender, so I'll open up Blender here. I think I even maybe started from a cube and I was able to create the model. So from the model, I needed a armature. Bring that up a little bit. And so this armature here. Hey, Lucid, Kaliko, how are you doing? What is that? Looks like a spaceship or a banana. Can I see? Does it tell me what it? No, I'm in OBS looking at the chat here. Welcome to the chat, by the way. And yeah, so this armature, I expanded on it. I used the default bird meta rig provided by the Rigify plugin. So I'm going to show how to use that right now in a fresh document. I'm going to open up a new Blender instance here. And I'm not going to show the whole process, but I'm just going to show the plugin. So if I come to Blender preferences, add-ons, I might have it. Yeah, I've already got it enabled here. And this is default in Blender, so there's no additional downloads that you need. Yeah, oh man, I mean, when I discovered this, it was, I mean, for me, it was a game changer because I'm able to do this. And it basically gave me that foundation to just like expand on it a little bit in two, maybe three ways. They were quite complicated to expand on, but it was worth it. So armature, we go Rigify meta rigs, Rigify meta rigs, animals, bird, and then for some reason, why would it be so small by default? What is the scale? Like, does it tell me? I don't know. I guess they scaled it to a human. So if I took Like, I'll hide the cube, get this cube out of here. I'll add a human. Yeah, so it's like, it's as if it was like a real sparrow, tiny bird compared to a human. You know, that's something, so I need to add that to my document, is the scale of the character. So I might add that even just up here or something. So I might have to touch on the model in this, just because I already talked about it, to like tell you just briefly how I got the model in there. Scale. It's because over here in Unreal, let me zoom out a little bit. This character is almost the size of the human. So I need to explain why I did that. The bird was scaled large for a bird. So I don't have to explain too much of that right now. I'll have to let that ferment in my head, that I need to talk about that. Yeah, so if we zoom in on this bird, we get to see the default skeleton that they give you, and there's quite a lot. He's got the majority of everything you need for a simple bird. And so if I look, maybe I'll go into edit mode here. So I think these are eyes. Is there a way? I always forget there's a way to drill down. I can do, yeah, shift click. Is it not showing me a skull? Oh, what's this one? Eye. So it gives you eyes, gives you beak. It gives you some weights, basically. The bones convert to weight paint. So it gives you some weights for the back of the head, so you get some nice, decent stretching. Spine, the neck, shoulders, which I'm interested to see how my shoulders look compared to this now. I may have separated those because my bird, I think, has wide-ish shoulders. We'll have to compare. And then the wings here are quite simple compared to the ones I have. So I've taken this very similar idea, and I think I added a bone. In the shoulder area, and then I added lots of bones for the feathers. So let's look at the default. I'm curious to know if these are deforming. What am I in here? Edit. So go edit, go to pose. I click this, and then under bone, look at deform. Yeah, so these are deforming. So these aren't really meant for feathers, unless. So I'll have to, yeah, I'll have to expand this document to talk about the feathers a little more closely. I talk about the bones. And how they're non-deforming. And then I'll have to talk about like the feather mesh and attachment. So the sparrow has, I think it's 37 feathers that are separate actors, that are separate skeletal mesh actors. So that's a lot of skeletal meshes for one bird. this may not be desirable for all projects. Okay, so this has worked reasonably well for me, but I suspect that it isn't super great if you want a lot of birds in your scene, right? If these are like ambient birds that are just like floating around in the sky way out in the distance, you don't really want to do this. Having all these separate actors for the feathers, but because this was my primary character, I didn't mind. My plan wasn't actually to use the bird in a game at all in the beginning. So when I started doing this, I was like, you know what? I just want high quality, easy to animate. And okay, so the two last areas, I guess, to cover quickly here are the tail. And I didn't make a lot of adjustments to the tail, but similar for the wings. I believe I did add some feathers, feather bones. So more specific, non-deforming feather bones. And then we have the feet, which I think I got away with pretty well using almost like as they are. All right, so let's flip to what I have. So his hair looks a little funny in here. It's super clumpy, but ignore kind of the model for now. I'll get into his groom in another video. The bone structure looks a little different than what we see here, so I'll maybe make a small tweak to show you some differences in the display options for the rig, for the armature. So from here, I can go bone. I mean, it's funny they don't say armature, it just says data. It should say armature there. Yeah, so under viewport display, I've got it set to display as stick. And so I can go, what is it? Whoa. No, not envelope. What is it by default? Octahedral. So you can see maybe why I opted for the other mode over time. Sometimes you just have some really big bones that kind of take over. And it just gets a little hard to look at. I'm going to take the render down a bit. We can leave it like that, I think. And then I usually set this to in front. Oh, you can't see that. My head's in the way. Oops, sorry. So octahedral from stick, and then in front. Yeah, so I mean you can experiment with the different options here. Wire is actually quite nice too. Like the simple, not well. I guess once the armature gets complicated, you have to kind of reduce the amount of drawing that's happening. And okay, so let's look at some of the differences here. So in the face, I needed, I think, extra bones for the eyelids. So let's just look at, yeah, so if we look at his eyes, right, is that going to tell me? So I left. I'm gonna take my cam off for a minute, just so I can move this down. And under meta rig, I just click it. Yes, I've got the eyelids. So I have eye left, eyelid upper, eyelid upper right, lower and lower. I added some for a tongue. I'm pretty sure they didn't have a tongue. Yeah, I don't see a tongue in there. That, I don't know if that was necessary to do. I didn't really get into moving the tongue around in the game as much as I thought I would for some animations. You do see the tongue in some clips, but I didn't really play around with the animation of it. So it's, did it really need bones? For the first version of this game, probably not. Okay, and then over to the wings. Is that it on the head? Yeah, so skull, so we can see those two skulls. I'm surprised they're so low in my project. I thought I had more bones further back in the head, but I don't. And then it kind of gets complicated in here. So shoulder left. What's this guy? Shoulder, oops. Wing, shoulder. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is technically the wing. Yeah, so I've got a really small first wing bone, a longer one. Now I chose to not make him a complete T-pose. And so this is something I want to add to my document. So yeah, the stretching. Feather bones. Some. Modified wing bones and added So I want to talk about this, the spread and the stretch. Whoops. Stretch. So am I was okay with some stretching of the texture, the wing texture. So I did not make the character a complete T-pose, but with bent elbows. So you can see there's a bend here where, you know, if you're used to traditional T-poses and stuff, this would be extended maybe instead. Okay. Just gonna check on a few things. Make sure my live streams are still running. Looks like YouTube went down, maybe. Weird. Oh, no, it's there. Okay. So, I back up a little bit since I'm not sure anyone's watching, so I'm going to start screenshotting some stuff rather than explaining everything. Goodbye. So, boom. Okay, make that smaller. I copy that out. Yeah, I can. I might add. Maybe I'll make a bullet point list for this. Some bones were scaled and repositioned. Some extra bones were necessary to achieve facial animation. Attaching wing feathers. Oops. So what else? Eyelids and tongue. Action modes, insert to G, facial animation, wing feathers. Wing and tail. And what else did I do? So, why is this open? Close. Oh. What? I don't know how to get that window back in easily. I have to close it, I think. Am I having... Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, these ones are flat. I've made them sort of clamped, but I do believe the bone structure is largely the same. I have a ring 03. Yeah. Yeah. So the feet are mostly the same. Thigh left, thigh left. So those look the same. And the tail. So I've got some extra bones here for, oops. Maybe we should frame the selection. Pretty sure there's a way to do that. Why can't I see it under here? Yeah, so I would have added those. Probably that one. Oh, they do have two feathers. Okay. pose mode. So there, I'm trying to show stretching. Take one shot like this. And another one. Like this. Bent wing elbows. Whatever. I don't think it's needed. Elbows. Oops, I'm used to other tools here. Can I just insert a table? Boop. Hey, welcome to the stream, guys. Wireframe? Hey, sorry I missed your message if not sure when that came in. Pendo, how are you doing? Pendo Cory Cat. What does it look like in wireframe? Why? What am I in? Pose mode? Maybe I'll. Not sure how to change the wireframe color. Change the background color, which was probably a bad idea. I kind of forget. How to turn it back right now. Ah, nice. Yeah, I haven't dealt with a lot of bones, like human bones anyways, or human characters. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, and what I could have done, go back to textured, is actually like compressed the texture in that stretching area with a higher density of texture, basically, just kind of like compressed it so when it stretches, it actually doesn't look as stretched. I could have maybe found a bit of a better balance. And you can see that there's more stretching in the center than there is kind of at the top. So I could have probably optimized this quite a bit. Local scale operation. Yeah. Yeah, so if whoops, back to pose, yeah. So it just kind of really compresses it. So if I go too far though, like it doesn't, whoops, if I go like that, here I'll turn wireframe off. It starts to look kind of bad. But then the elbow is also really kind of bad. So I just know kind of the tolerance and work within it. And it's worked out reasonably well. You're usually pretty far away from the bird too, like, and if there's close-ups, you're not really seeing that area all that often. So a little bit of stretch is almost unnoticeable. Unless you're unless you're really, unless you've been doing modeling and all this kind of stuff yourself for decades, then you will be like, oh my gosh, there's stretch. So I got away with it, I think, for now. That's my first bird project. I'll take it. Edit what I'm in. Pose. Oops. I always forget. What is the operation to get it back to normal? Control G or something? I know I can do rest pose here. Look it up quickly. Pose R, press Alt R, Alt R. I was pressing Control Alt R. Alt R. It's not working. Rename, clear motion, convert. Clear user transform, but why isn't that? I don't know why that's not working. Oh well. I'm just gonna clear user transforms that way. So I want to detail the face a bit here. See if I can find a nice angle that kind of shows all the different bones without being too overwhelming. It's not bad. So you're studying CAD in school? Did I call you Pando before or Panda? Panda. It's cute. Cool. I'll go with Panda. Cool. So into like architecture and stuff. Architecture is not something I've gotten into a lot yet. Ah, nice. Yeah, I've worked in software a lot. Unreal. This is my first real, modeling experience and gaming and super visual experience, building something in all these different tools. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was hard to make. Once we get into the Unreal Engine side of things, and looking, so that's something I was going to open up. Is its control? What did I call it? Bird. I have a funny name for a control rig. The UV wasn't too bad. I textured it in Blender, and I can show you, the UV. and the texture. I've got different textures. The one you were seeing was my alternate character, but this one here is this character. And I split him in half, which I think was maybe sort of a mistake-ish, but because I do end up seeing a seam that I know I can improve, like you can see it there, but that's just an issue with some of my geometry, I think. You can see like so that might be something I fix in a later video, is like trying to, there's a few issues that I have that I'll probably try and make very dedicated videos to, like how to stitch this up. Honestly, the texturing ended up being really easy to do. I had texture paint. Let's see if I have some leftover brushes. Yeah, for some reasons there's some weird occlusion happening in and around the eyes and stuff, but just ignore that. Only in this mode. It doesn't happen in any other mode. There's the other bird. And see if I have a brush available that I saved. This was such a long time ago that I was into the texture painting of it. Where would... Oh, I'm still in a mode. I'm in edit mode. So if I select, cute. Oops. I had photographs that I had taken from backyard birds using a decent lens, a telephony. I'm using the wrong word. Basically a lens with a good zoom on it. It was 400 millimeters lens on a micro four thirds sensor, so it ends up being like, it's got weird math to it. It ends up being like an 800 millimeter lens, but I'm able to get like really close up pictures of birds. And then using texturing mode, so texture paint. Yeah, I don't know why the brush isn't coming up right now. Every time I get into texture mode, I'm always confused. So it's not in texture paint mode here. There we go. And then I'm able to just, I'm hesitant to make a change because I don't want to break, but I'm in a new file here, so I should be okay. All right, so you can really just do that, and even across the seam, it will paint to the, so you can kind of see, how do I turn that wireframe off here? Yeah, so if I went like red. Yeah. Yeah, it was actually a really fun project. It started as a tutorial for myself to just, or not a tutorial, but like a challenge. I was like, I'd like to build a photorealistic model, and the only way for me to do that was to use photographs. And I was like, well, let me start with one of my own photographs. And I had tons of pictures of birds kicking around, so I just started modeling it and trying to texture it with that, and it started working out really well. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I couldn't believe I could do it, and it took me about 3 weeks to build the model and the texture. And it was, I'm going to say, the original model and texture, because it then kind of went over the course of like 2 years, fine tuning and modifying, and I mean it's been a 4-year project total, but I'd say in the first 2 years I spent most of my time doing the model and the texturing, not alone, but tweaking it over those first 2 years, and then I kind of stopped. I got more into the gameplay stuff, and I didn't really have to touch the model a whole lot, which was really nice to kind of be done with it. I'll just undo those. But yeah, then I end up importing different brushes and stuff, and that was kind of weird. Blender is a little, I was still pretty new to Blender and importing textures as brushes and stuff, so I would have saved more, but I didn't at the time really know how to do that. So I have to kind of load them from a file every time, which is a little bit annoying. So I'd improve that the next time I get in here and do any real serious work on the bird. Oh, nice. Cool. Where do you, well, you don't have to tell me where, but a lot of birds in your area? I'm downtown right now, so I don't get a lot of wildlife, which is unfortunate, so I don't go out as much. Yeah, these were actually taken from um, my parents' backyard. So a bunch of sparrows, and made a game from it. Bird mesh. So I don't know if I should. I might skip ahead a little bit. I'll probably do a couple passes on all this. What did I miss in here? Yeah, I'm not going to detail that right now. I kind of want to do a really good gloss over in this first video. So stretchy, feather bones, non-deforming. So that's something I kind of want to cover here, is at least just coming in here. Selecting, can I see that from here? Yeah, non-deforming. Like, oh, no, I get it nice and close. Before I do that, oh man, look at all the feathers. That was, I mean, there's way more feathers here than there needs to be too. I kind of planned for 2 layers of feathers, like one on top of the other. And so a bunch of these aren't used. I think it's like those ones kind of thing. So I could even hide them. I might want to do that. What are these ones? Okay, yeah, so that's the whole first row. Those ones go away. Whoops, what did I hit? G? What did that do? Nothing. Okay, good. I might do the same. Did I add anything here? I did. Oops, keep hitting G. Yeah, that's cleaner. And then I'll snap that. I'm just gonna highlight that they're non-deforming. Oops, go straight line. That sort of plays a pivotal role in how I'm able to attach things and not have these bones affect the mesh's stretch. So if these were all weight painted to the, so the non-deforming means that there's no weight paint associated to the mesh. So if I move this bone, the mesh stays in place. It doesn't care. It's like a free bone. It does nothing to the mesh. But with them there, they basically serve as markers or attachment points for the feathers. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. If you have any comments, let me know, please. Appreciate any feedback. So can I show that? If I go select the armature, select the mesh, go weight paint. Oops. And then now I select a bone again. It's Alt click. Yeah, so you can see deforming. So deforming has weight paint associated with it. So let's say that kind of here. Which there's a shortcut for insert table. Columns 2, 1. And then selecting a non-deforming shows there's no weight paint. Oops. Be fun to try and figure out the biological way to model flight dynamics. How do you mean biological? Actual lift, drag. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So some of my game has some of that stuff in it. Not so much lift and drag. So you're talking about air dynamics and how the air like moves like below and on top of the bird. So like if you're like I've wanted to do that too. So like if you're flying really fast forward and you move up, you get like a sense of uplift. Because like and you see birds do that in nature too, right? They use speed and then they kind of like they go up really quickly. I've wanted to build that into my game, and I know I can too. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was able to get some, like, in games you kind of, a lot of it's like smoke and mirrors in a way. you find fun ways to like mimic the effect without actually doing it. So I was able to get like some feather shake and stuff, but then it maybe comes out of place in some cases. There's so much time that can be invested into it to like get it quite 100%. Non-deforming weight paint. Okay, what's next? So talk about the weight paint here too. I'll probably bring that up. I'm pretty sure people. No, I think I'm just thinking of a GoPro attached to like a hawk. I've seen that. I don't think I've seen a mocap. I bet you that exists though for sure. All right, so are we gonna jump into UE5 now? I kind of want to do a pass here. I'm not really gonna cover that right now, and I might not cover it much at all. So feed IK is the big one. The feather alignment is a big one. Okay, so let's look at that. Yeah, so jumping into Unreal Engine. Yeah, I want to at least list different assets used here. I need to organize my windows so I can not alt tab so much. Like, try that for a moment, and I can just kind of click around instead. Oops. Eh. Um, not right click there. So I'm in animation mode, so edit. That's gonna go over there, so let's leave that here. Yes, the important part would be that wings component. It's not the mesh, but bird actor blueprint. So wings component. Well, that's kind of saying after. Let's just say it this way. Several assets are used to drive animation. To set up and drive. There's a blueprint. So there's another one, control rig. Blueprint, should I be capitalizing these? And A's over here. Yeah, luckily Sparrow Country was a like there's a lot of landscape, so I don't have a lot of architecture, but I've been wanting to like get into these off worlds that are they have like some alien races that have architecture. So it's on my mind a lot sometimes. Like I fantasize about these alien worlds, and you're kind of a small bird in this bigger, you know, in a way, super large world, but these almost urban settings, but again, they're alien, so like I can play with it and stuff and make all kinds of weird things. In a alternate cityscape, yeah, sort of. So yeah, I mean the whole like basically I wanted it to have like your super small scale in a large universe with these gigantic characters kind of thing, and those gigantic characters might not move a whole lot, but at least gives you the sense that you're a tiny little thing. Um, but that gets really complicated when the world around you becomes gigantic. Welcome to the chat, Papa G. That's my dad, by the way. How you doing tonight? Tiny fish. That'd be fun. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I like games that kind of do this sort of idea. So, so this is control rig. This is control rig. This is control rig. So I think I'm gonna have a section here, and then these are subsections. Mains, control, animation. So I kind of need to drill into each responsibility. Not really each, but just a little bit. So wings component. Bird actor. Managed all of the attached feathers. Could almost attach a screenshot in here. Do that in a minute. Let's get control rigs, animation blueprint. I guess that'll come after. Bird actor, I'll have to detail that guy a little bit. That's weird. Ugh. So I had two versions. One was using cinematics and the other gameplay. So bird actor 2. So I could probably show that, maybe even just side by side. There's two different actor blueprints. It's kind of a pain. I probably didn't need to do it, but it kind of helped me easily get the cinematic version going without having to like reconfigure the actor a whole lot. I always forget how to change the grid size in this. Oh, I can take it off for now. That's good. Let's debug. And I can maybe highlight. Yeah, look at all the components on this thing. This is the gameplay version. I can't even count the number of components on this thing. And then over here, like, so streamlined. The most important right now is that wings component. Just gonna hide bird control rig here for a moment. Almost done with the first pass. Couple more things, couple more assets to highlight. Control rig might take a while though. It takes a while to scale this thing down. Yeah, highlighted in there. And highlighted. Oops, maybe the selected component is the things component. On that below. Yeah, the wings component ended up being, is it fully C++? Yeah. Yeah, so I'll try not to scare people too much with the C++ because it gets unruly, and I know it's like I want to run in the other direction once you start seeing C++. So I'll try not to stay down here for too long. But I'll try and highlight the important bit, which is sort of this function here that iterates all the different feather bones and attaches feathers to those bone sockets. Yeah, so it's kind of confusing to talk about like so many different words and stuff. You create a socket on a bone and you attach the feather to the socket. Say that 5 times fast. So I'll highlight this for now. Create feather component. yes, I should probably talk about. Oh, there is an asset I'm missing here too. The bird mesh. Is the bird actor blueprint? The bird mesh. There's also the bird skeleton. So many assets. Yeah, so let's just hide C++. Yeah, this is Unreal now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was when I first got into this, I was going to try and do animation in Blender, and I didn't know the animation tools on that side very well at all. And I tried, getting into it, and I just had such a hard time. I had a little bit of experience on Unreal with the sequencer, and at the time, Unreal Engine 5 was just coming out. It was kind of in beta, and they were all about, pushing control rig. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I can try animating the bird in the engine with control rig. And I tried it, and I, found something that started working, and I was like, whoa, like this is way easier for me to do here than it is in Blender. And so I just ran with it. So yeah, I'll have to show the skeleton on this side. I can click on this mesh. Skeletal mesh asset. The skeleton mesh is gonna come up behind, so maybe just group those guys. Hide them for now, maybe. Ah, okay. So you know Unity. How well do you like? Is that something you work with professionally, or just like maybe in school? I guess. Yeah, Unity is taught a lot in schools, eh? Yes, here are the sockets. And so for, oh man, each. Can I get in there? Okay. Okay. Nice. Cool flight simulator. That'd be amazing. Is it something you still play with a little bit, or like it was kind of just one small experiment at some point? Did you get into modeling airplanes? That would be fun. Like that would suit my game. Like I could, how would you say that? Refactor my game, or what do you call that? Give it a makeover or a skin. Not a total conversion, but just a mod, I guess, at that point. Well, no, it would be a total conversion, but I could almost make it with what I have and get like so much out of this. Oh yeah, from scratch. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's multiple. Well, man, you keep trying. Something will come out of it. Like this, I never tried making a flight simulator. I mean, it's a bird. It's basically a flight simulator. Um, and this project, it went through like a lot of hurdles to get it to work. But with persistence, like it started coming together, and I just, you kind of just know you have to keep going with it. Let's see if we can zoom in here. It gets a little wonky and unreal. Again, so many things going on in here. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so every what was it? Every bone needs a socket. So the socket's placed at the base of the bone. So if like I flip back to Blender, we can see the bones like extrude for a length, but you don't see that in Unreal. So when it's a little confusing, and I'm not even going to be able to explain it completely right now. But sometimes, like when you export from Blender into Unreal, you can specify you want end cap bones. I forget the word for it. And typically turn that off. And so Unreal kind of like, it's weird. It takes that last bone and it hides it. It's there, but it's just kind of hidden. I don't know if there's a way to like show it. Maybe I just don't know how to do that yet. But either way, it's not really needed because the socket is placed at the base of this anyway. So not at the tip, but at the base. And the length of it really here is just indicating the rotation of the base. And that rotation is also used for the socket that I'm kind of highlighting here. Now, unfortunately here I have the two layers that I originally intended. So it's kind of messy and I can't really just hide those ones like I can in Blender. So I almost feel like I should delete some just for the sake of taking a picture because it's so messy. Bird mesh. Hey, let's do it. It shouldn't be too hard. So all these mids. Where's that even going? It's kind of strange. It's not highlighting the sockets. Okay, these round things are actually the bones, not the sockets. The sockets are not being rendered. There we go. That's even worse. It's so hard to see what's going on in here. What if I go really close so that there's some spacing? No. Can I turn the bone size down? Bone draw size? Ooh, that's better. What about the socket size? That's way better if you just draw the bones. Multicolored bones? Pretty. Oh, but those sockets. I'll leave it as is for now. That's in the skeleton, so I gotta go to the new section. Bird skeleton. So after the skeleton is imported Unreal, it was imported Unreal. I added sockets. A bit messy, unfortunately. Not being able to resize the socket viewport display. Yeah. Did I do anything in Blender for sockets? Don't think I did. So I'm pretty sure there's a way that you can kind of automatically create those sockets without having to manually do them, but I ended up doing it the manual way. Yeah, I'll have to look into that later. But I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything. It's just manual. Yeah, I had a bit overkill. Yep. So yeah, I think the way I have it set up is that it's the sockets that become available to C++, not the actual bone. So that's kind of the reason for the socket, is that it kind of creates that availability to C++ easily anyways. I'm pretty sure you could iterate the bones too. If I was savvy enough, I feel like there's a way to do that. But I ended up doing it with sockets. Create. Let's just, I'll open up that function quickly. Yeah, so I get the sockets. Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, control rig. Once I'll, you know what? I'm gonna put a to-do on that, and I'll jump into the control rig. So once you see this, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I need Unreal. All right, yeah, let's get out of this guy. Let's get into the control rig. And where is the animation blueprint? Did I have that open? I'm gonna close some windows down. Bird mesh, get rid of it. Certain I had it open. No, I didn't. This, hilariously, I spelt it wrong when I first named it to Anum instead of Anum. And I've left it like that on purpose because every time I type Anum, it's like 400 assets come up. But if I type Anum, that asset comes up. And I was like, that's perfect. Yeah, this is the state machine that drives and blends between animations. So control rig will help me bake animation, and those baked animations are then blended in this file. So yeah, the other thing I'll have to show is like this animation here is the baked animation, or this is me baking an animation actually using control rig, so that's confusing. This is his, it's got to be open somewhere. Sequencer. Yeah, so the desired outcome of that control rig is to be able to manipulate it from this sequencer asset. So if you're not familiar with sequencer, if you think of any video game where they have like cutscenes, and you can kind of tell it goes into like a keyframe animation, it's driven by sequencer. So basically I can create keyframe animation. So if I'm in animation mode, click G to bring back some gizmos. And so you can see there's a bunch of gizmos. I'm going to hide the grid if I can. How do I grid? So as an example, for his wings, I can take, it's a bit tight in there for me. Sorry, getting some of my controls messed up. Trying to get in there a little bit. Yeah, so this is what it's all about right now. It's what I'm trying to sort of detail in that document and how I built that. Yeah. So if I look at it from a different angle, it will get a little bit screwed up. You kind of have to play with a couple controls to get exactly what you want, and I always kind of forget like what rotation I need to use here. But basically, it collapses them down using a spread value that rotates every socket iteratively with a weight. So like the first feather almost doesn't have to rotate at all. The second feather rotates a little bit more, the third bit more, fourth more, and so forth. And yeah, the feathers are attached. Thank you. The feathers are attached to like, there's two bones, arm bones, that sections of feathers are attached to, so that's super complicated too. And I ended up making it super complicated. I kind of reversed the algorithm. Like the index on this first section at the bottom is like 0 to 1. But then over here, it's the other way, it's 1 to 0. And that threw me for many loops because I had to sort of flip the algorithm. But I figured, hey, why not make the algorithm flippable, and you can kind of define it in any direction. But yeah, control rig. Let's see how that's set up here. They call this the forward solve. There's a couple of different modes that the control rig operates in. So I can kind of toggle those here. Forward solve, construction. Construction is like it's not even going to run your forward solve. Then they have a backward solve, but I have no. I never implemented backward solve, so it's optional, and I wasn't advanced enough to really make that work. Yeah, the forward solve basically will use the control to position the bones. The backward solve does it the other way around. It uses the bones to position the controls. So if I think Unreal kind of does it because they share assets a lot. So you might have multiple different meshes that are using the same skeleton. So that's kind of where the backward solve, I think, comes into play. I'm not mistaken though, they also used it like in mocap situations where you could import data and then have all the controls sort of adapt to the position that the mocap captured. But that's kind of out of my league. This forward solve is basically taking these controls that I positioned at basically key joints. So the elbow, the shoulder, and then I created other controls for things like the beak, the eyes. That one I think is the head. So we'll try them out here. This will blow your mind probably a little bit maybe. Yeah, hello. And then you can just start playing. Oops. Oh, so that does an expression. One of these is the beak. Oh, there it is. Ah, he gets really crazy loud or wide. Oops. What do these ones do? Forget. Oh, more expression. I've got a couple of expressions. I need to sort these a little bit better. Dude, yeah. Follow this series a little bit if you want. I'm going to be detailing this in more of a, I'm taking all these live streams and I'm going to condense it down into like a very focused video. So, this live stream is going to be 2 hours now, but I'm going to have probably 3 of them. And I'm going to take those 6 hours of videos and condense it into like 10 minutes. And then I want to do other videos too. So this is going to be called like the control rig integration. I'll have another one for the character groom or grooms because there's it gets out of focus a bit. I want to do focus like cinematography a little bit and how to control the camera's blur and stuff because like if I get really close he gets blurry, but I can change that and have the background like super blurry and it ends up making such a beautiful picture. But his groom, so that'll be a separate series. And I'll probably do the modeling and texturing. I don't know if those will be together or separate, but it's all going to be free stuff too. It's not like a paid series. I'm just going to be posting it to my YouTube channel, my studio YouTube channel on Binary Ghost Studio YouTube. So I have 2 YouTube channels, one for the studio, one for the game. Um, so yeah, one thing I need to highlight here is that like that stretch, unfortunately, let me try this again. I might have been rotating the wrong bone before. So if I take this one, because here I have the feathers attached, so it's so easy to see, like, oh, it's not working, it's not working. Which one was it again? That's none of them. What was I just rotating? So it's the blue one. Okay. And then if I come here, does it do? Yeah, see, it doesn't give me. I haven't figured out how to turn that to make that work. Like, you should be seeing the spread in these bones, but you don't. So even though it's running through my algorithm, it just doesn't show bone rotation. Whoops, sorry. Okay, so let's high level. No, 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 you're not distracting me at all. I honestly super appreciate somebody here chatting with me. It's fun and it's actually good for me, right, to explain it. It helps me cover things that I otherwise would have missed. Yeah, again, so this is taking these controls and mapping it to modify a bone somehow. So in control rig, I do have access to the bones. And we were talking about C++ earlier. Here I'm iterating the sockets, so I don't need the bones there, but here you do get access to the bones. So for example, the head, right? I basically come through a sequence. The sequence can be deleted because it does nothing other than just go into this next sequence. This one says outdated because they deprecated this node for this other sequence node, which is why it's like I never fully migrated to this sequence node yet. And then this section, for example, is the head. And so let's see if we can find this control in the node graph. So it's called IK head control, this kind of round thingy, round gizmo. Neck, it's got to be the neck. Look how messy this is. So I spent so much time down here trying to get things working. I was quite new to control rig at the time. And it was also very buggy when it first came out. So like the editor was crashing like every 45 minutes. So I'll have to clean this up a little bit. It might not be too hard. Like, is this used? Oh, it is used. No. Yeah. So different IK nodes that I was trying to see what worked. So yeah, IK stands for inverse kinematic, and that's the process of like controlling the bones using some gizmo. Well, that's how it starts though, right? It starts as small projects that eventually you're like, this is something already. That's how this kind of started. Like it was just a pet project that I'm like, oh, I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll try this for fun, and then it's like, whoa, like what did I just build? It's by accident. Yeah, look how simple it is after I take all the cruft out. So let's check that. Whoa. I'm gonna get rid of it. Get rid of it. Okay, that one's used. A lot of times, yeah, so if I just select a bunch of nodes, sometimes I don't want to delete them right away, but I at least put a comment block, just say even like deprecated, color it yellow or something, and then it helps just be like when you come in here again next time, it's like, oh, yeah, this is all there was. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Your toys become your work. Do you stream, Panda? Ah, okay. I never know. Maybe one day. It's fun. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of it, but I think in my line of work, it's not really 100% necessary, but yeah, I've introverted too. I mean, I've spent a lot of the last 4 years sort of alone and not streaming. It's only in the last 4 months that I've sort of finally started coming out of that. So I think a confidence thing a bit too, or at least having something that you're like, I want to showcase something. But there's a few streamers that they document their learning process and they build up a following early. Um, I follow some people like that, and it's honestly so fun to just go jump into a stream and uh, either even just watch somebody learn, or even if you have experience in that kind of area, then you can help them too. Like it's super collaborative. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this I think is going to be the fun part, is actually sharing this kind of stuff. I hope. I mean, so far it is. Like even just chatting with you is way more fun than I've had in the last 4 years. I've had fun in small spurts, right? Joining other people's streams and stuff. I can have fun. I've done some streams, a lot of streams with my dad too. He's been around a lot for this project, so we've played games together and stuff, and I stream that. Um, um, yeah. So the notes I have, I can show you that maybe. Um, do I have a quick? This is my website that I'm sort of, so it's the Making Sparrow Country, a developer's perspective. And I have a section in here. Hang on, sorry. Control rig integration. So this is, like, it's very small right now. And so this note will probably be a separate document in here in this website. And instead of this section here, I'll probably link out, like I'll have a very brief description of the control rig here, and then I'll say like go to this document and you'll get this one. I'm also going to have a YouTube video associated with it. So this whole document, like everything I'm streaming right now, is going to be condensed into that video. So it'll be at the top of this document. So you can either just watch the video, but if you want the kind of the documented version, this will be on my website. Um, thank you. Yeah. No, I feel like that's the right thing to do. This needs to be shared a little bit. And at the end of the day, it might be the thing that drives visibility to my project. Right now, I'm getting like zero visibility. Um, and I have one YouTube video. Um, so YouTube, live now. I haven't seen that before actually. Live now. There's two sections for it, which is kind of weird. I've got this live video capture and engine using a green screen. And it's only got 28 views. It's 3 months ago, but it gets views like every couple of days. Like I don't know if it's picking up, but for being like one of my first videos, it seems like people are actually kind of clicking on it and finding it useful. Like you can see, the analytics, and they're scrolling and scrubbing through it. And it's getting consistent views. My other my gameplay video trailer, it died after like a week and a half. It gets no views. So I feel like documentation is actually like the key to like maybe my success. Yeah, so in all of this, I get this head control. That's the sphere here. And I'm able to get its rotation. And I split the rotation into an XYZ coordinate. And I multiply it by some arbitrary tolerances here. And I feed it into a bone rotation IK. So this is just like if I come in here, I right click, and I say IK. There's a whole pile of IK nodes you can use. And some of these are my own functions here. So like hip IK, leg IK, I've made those, and they're just shortcuts to like the engine built-in IK. Apply to bone. Rotation and rotator. Yeah, I'll look into the other ones in a second, but I'll highlight what this one's kind of doing. So it takes in a strength. So it's a vector, XYZ, that is controlled by this. So as I control or rotate this sphere up here, this rotational value, the blue is Z, the Z coordinate. So that's driving this rotation Z into this node, and I half it. So if it's moving 1 unit, it's only getting half. For whatever reason, I chose that at the time. I could make that like a variable, so it's like you can influence the amount that it rotates per rotation unit as you rotate in the viewport. And then it drives these two bones, and that's, again, so this is an engine node. I didn't write if I double click on it, it comes to apply to bone rotation IK. Oh, hang on, did I write it? To bone. Never mind, I wrote it. Got one too. Okay. Yeah, so these ones I wrote. And it's just setting the rotation value on the bone. If I jump back to here, so this is where we originally were a moment ago. So this is applying two rotators. So it kind of looks like that. So if you imagine the execution chain going here, I can even just draw it out for a second. But that's what this function is doing here. It's setting the rotator. I'm partially, I think, using the word inverse kinematics wrong. Because a rotation is not inverse kinematic, I don't think. I use IK for the feet. And so and that's an engine node, and so that's why I'm getting confused here. When I saw IK, I sort of misnamed these functions. They don't really need IK. Same thing like set rotator here. It doesn't say IK on there. And that's all this is doing. It's setting two rotations. So let's see. Let's jump into the legs. Or do we want to look at the beak? What do you think? You want to look at like the beak and the eyes, or do you want to look at the legs? I think the beak and the eyes are very similar to what I was just showing here. The legs will definitely be a little bit different. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Unreal is, I think, that's why it's actually a really good engine. Is they've made it designer friendly as a like staple, so that you like. I'm lucky and I can get into code, so I have a little bit of extra prowess there, but you can do so much just from all the built-in tools in the editor. Okay, so let's see how I control this. If I take this ball and I just move it, yeah. So that's inverse kinematic. It's taking an arbitrary point and then sort of morphing the bones to reach it in some mathematical way. And luckily, that mathematical way is built into the engine, so I didn't really have to do a lot for this. It's very similar to the setup I've shown you here for the neck. And so let's look at, so if I jump back to the top rig graph, I'll zoom out a bit. So this is the whole rig graph. That's all there is. We looked at the neck here, and well, that's the head. It's got the neck, the eye morphs, so eyes really, the beak, and the facial expressions. Facial expressions is something, I'm going to write that in my notes. Facial expressions, wing component. And I think they call it like morph values that are driven through here, but that's a side note for now. This is at the wings. Here's the legs. Anytime it's a gray function, I think that's my own function. If I jump into it, again, I mean, this is how I left it like 2 years ago. So that's out. I'll try and just clean it up briefly. Like the pins, oops. What the heck happened there? Okay. What is it doing? It's like resetting. Okay, hopefully it's, oh. It's messing with me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, the beak is fine. I'll drill into that in another video. This is a good high-level overview. So I'll review this video and then I'll sort of dissect where I want to go into more detail. BasicIK. So this is not gray. It's blue. So if I double click on it, yeah, nothing happens. So it's just a system node or an Unreal Engine. So if I looked up BasicIK, that's how you add it. And then it just takes in 2 bones that it's going to modify, and an effector item. And that effector item I have here, let's maybe not do it this way. It's going to reset. Nope, it's okay. And then just so there's not so many crossing lines. Save that. Yeah, there's... Okay, so let's look at... Try and isolate the bones a little bit. It'd be cool if I could show bone names. Bone names. Oh. Can I click here? Nah, too far. What bones am I passing in here? So I got thigh bone, ankle bone. Is there a song like that? Yep. No, base. Yeah, they have a pile. What is it? IK. Spring IK. That's fun. I could show that at some point. And I'm not going to be able to tell you what they all do. Like fabric solver can you solve n bones. So this one that I have basic is 2 bones. This one's n bones. So you can pass in like an array of bones, and then it will sort of interpolate the easing through each, which is really cool. That's good for like a plant. I have, I think, some of that with my plants for the stems. So I have a big long stem, and then I use that to like shape the stem and make it sway back and forth. Yeah, so this getter here, these are just getting the input parameter. So like I could have just drawn this line like this, and delete this. Like it's the exact same thing. But rather than having these gigantic lines, I mean, I don't know why this node's so far out. I have to do everything twice right now. Sometimes if I just reopen it, it might fix itself. Okay, so we were in this function, and we were just toying around in here. So it takes all these inputs. So the thigh bone, the ankle bone, the effector. Do I use the IK control? Where's that? It's a bit confusing. I've got 2 things, 2 controls of controlling the effector. Why do I have that? I'll have to look at that in more detail. Show a little bit more detail, but the input. So if I go back to the top level rig graph, This is just setting up the legs, and it calls that function twice here. So I select the bones that I want. So thigh left. What I was going to try and do is just highlight here the thigh left, which is probably up here. Character. Bones. Bone names. Yeah, so thigh left. Thigh left. Shin left. Shin left. The effectors, the foot. The IK control is going to be this round thingy, the round gizmo. And I can look at that rig. Boop, 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 boop. Foot left. Foot, foot, foot. Is it highlighted? No. Okay. Oh, I called it leg left. Leg left. Yeah. Yeah, so those, all those, like, that's kind of the advantage of using a function, is you can just repeat something, pass in different values. So this is just the right side, left side. So I can even, can I do that in this? Sometimes you can write a note attached to this node, but control rig doesn't have that feature. So I'm kind of curious why the foot is needed as the effector. It's using the rotation, and it adds a rotation from that IK control. I'm not really going to remember exactly why I did all that. I'm going to have to dissect that a little bit more in my off time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of that in this. I'm like, what the heck did I do? Yeah, and I do the similar thing. I take the rotation of this one, I add the rotation of that one, and I take the location or the transform, and add the transform of this one subtracted by its initial position. I can guarantee this can be condensed. Not a lot. A little bit for sure, but generally the engine kind of handles quite a lot of it for you. There was, some interesting areas with the movement component and getting the flight working for sure. Like rotationally, you end up running in, I forget the word for it, but sort of winding issues where it snaps if you're interpolating past, the 180-degree point, where it goes from minus 180 to positive 180. All of a sudden, your interpolation values kind of get confused. Yeah. Yeah. Gimble Lock, yeah. 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 Oh man, yeah. It messed me up for a little bit too. There are some built-in, like, hidden. I have them documented somewhere too. I put like a very special document for like, use this function when you're doing Gimble Lock, basically, that it helps just do all the transformations and you don't have to do much about it. But it's like, it's hidden. Here they have some transformations for you that you're not really interpolating from one value to another. Like, this is just setting it directly, so you don't really have to worry about it. Yeah, and so this pole vector, let's get into that. We talked about the effector. That's driving. two bones, and the effector, the pole, are these two red dots way back in the distance. And they drive sort of like they're like a weight factor for the pivot, the joint. And so I can kind of show that probably. Can I forget how to move these things. I think I have to do it. Pull X. I'm gonna want the the Y axis apparently. Y. So if I move these to like 20, does it do anything? Yeah. Went down, I think though. A bit. If I go. Oh, I don't know why they're moving down so much. And a little bit more, minus 20. Yeah, so then that happens. So the joints will pop the other way. So that might be what you're looking for, is that the joints are like inverted because you have some weird abnormal creature. If you think like, what is that, like super weirdly flexible limbs, and like so you can just like animate this pole vector and like your joints will be doing all these like wobbly things. But for my case, I was able to just sort of hard code them into the distance, and it pretty much just works. So the joints sort of stay exactly where I want them. They're always, yeah, I had to push them all the way back and then down. I think if I had them too high up, I ran into issues too. Maybe if that still happens if I do, and if I bring it down. Oh yeah, so that's where, yeah, you bring them down and then he's always kind of trying to draw that joint downwards rather than to the sides or forwards. But here, like, yeah, he still goes out to the side, but I just know that constraint that I can't go too high with his feet here, and I just avoid it. But I probably could have gone further down. Because I do run into this one quite a lot when I'm animating. I'm like, oh, why is his leg going all the way out to the side? Those are really far down now. But it's still like, I mean, seems to work pretty well. Yeah, and then so that's Control G, and that resets the controls back to their rest position. So yeah, that's inverse kinematic. The crazy fun thing that you can also do with this is that you can position this control to, let's say, a landscape's surface. So if you imagine like he's got a walking animation, and you have a line trace that runs periodically, call it once a second or 10 times a second, but it can then sense where the ground is and set this control so that it's trying to reach further down to hit the ground. I mean, in a walking animation, that would be, I don't do it in a walking animation, that'd be really hard to do, I think. But at idle, that's when I kick on my inverse kinematic modifiers and I query the world for the ground. I feed in two locations into this, not into this control rig directly, but into this animation blueprint. And then that controls the position of this, and his feet kind of go where you want them to go, which is pretty fun. we covered that guy pretty well. We can look at the claws. This, again, I think is pretty similar to the head rotation. Yeah, so I'll jump back to the rig graph. I'm going to close all other tabs. Claws, apply claws IK. Setting up some math for some reason. Claws. I was really new to control rig here, which is why, like, I've probably, what are these local variables? Get right strength, get middle bone A. What the heck are these? Why do I have so many local variables? Whoa, look at them all. Okay, I was trying something different here rather than passing like 8 different bones through here. I set the bone names here, which honestly is not a great way to do it, I think, because they're really hidden down here in this local var list. Like you're usually here in this rig hierarchy. I have to go to the blueprint graph. I have to select that local variable just to see what bone was actually passed in. It kind of tells you here, it's like get bone left, but default value is this bone name, but you can't even see what the bone name is. So that was bad. But I'm gonna leave that for now. Apply claw IK. Oh, and then I do it anyways. So, and then and I deprecated that. So I was supposed to clean this all up at some point. So I'll probably do that at some point in the next couple of months. I'm kind of trying to get my head up out of development for a little bit. So we get the toe, the front toes parent, okay, and then front toes, and the thumb. I didn't know what to call the back claw finger. Called it a thumb. What do they call that in Blender's default bird? Do they have a thumb? Yeah, they do. Oh, they call it thumb there. Okay. Yeah, and these are just calling so many functions in here. This is like overkill. Nesting functions like that. Ideally should have cleaned this up kind of thing, but yeah, this is where I was using a funny name, IK. This is just doing a rotation. It's not doing IK, it's just a rotation on the bone. Yeah, so let's step back all the way to the top. So we have the leg IK. That's wrong. Step back to the top. It's got apply claws IK. So left claw, the other one down below is right claw. It's got all these bones that it's going to modify for each finger. So yeah, if I look at one finger, each finger has 1, 2, so only 2 bones. Is that right? Ring A, B, C. I think that's the hidden bone that you don't really see with Unreal, it kind of hides the last bone. So there's, if I looked at it through Blender, pull that up quick. Yeah, you can see he's got another bone at the end there that is not really visible on the Unreal Engine side, but you can still reference it. So it's kind of strange. It confuses me still, like what the real expectation is for that and why they don't render it. Yeah, and then so from those bones, I'm going to modify the fingers. So the toe finger, the front, so 1, 2, 3, there's 3 of them. So 1, 2, 3, and the thumb. What did I call this one? Toe? Oh, that's the toe's parent. That's not a finger. That's like the rotation on the foot as a whole. How do I do that? Oh, I think I just use, yeah, the rotation on this guy. So I reuse this control for the IK for the leg, but also for the rotation of the foot. I got detailed in some cases too, like the claw. You can see like that last joint, like kind of grabs. I'm surprised I went into that detail. Yes, that toe parent would be probably taking this control and just applying some rotations. And that's all these fingers are doing. It's going to apply a bunch of rotations, but with some algorithm to like ease or amplify the rotation based on the index. So yeah, rotation, rotation, rotation. A little confused why these are grayed out. What is that all about? Local function? Maybe I forget how control rig, if I do IK basic, for example, and I right click, collapse to function gives me, is that the same color? So it's not, okay, it's just a local function. Just looks disabled against this background color maybe? Yeah, it's better. Isn't that a local function? Like, why is this one different? I won't worry too much about it. Okay, so one bone rotation. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. So this is, for example, for each finger, this function will rotate those 3 joints. And then there's some special math. Yeah, so even further from palm. Doesn't exist on the thumb. And that's where I'll have some special math to give that last finger a little bit of extra rotation at the end. I'm not going to try and dissect all that right now, though. I think that's too much for my brain. Okay, so that was fun. We could take a break from the control rig and take a look at the animation blueprint. Been streaming quite surprisingly for a while. It's fun though. It's a good breakdown. So yeah, let's jump into the animation blueprint. See if I can cover this quick. And I might try and wrap it up. Yeah, there's still two. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you're interested in it, then I'll definitely continue. And I'll break it down a little bit more because there's this one asset here, but there's also, I could talk a little bit about how sequencer is used to feed this graph. Yeah, there's so many, like I need to snapshot this. The animation blueprint. And then, yeah, control rig. Because they both have graphs, so it's like, oh, there's so many graphs. Blueprint, so what is what? And I'll get to that up here. Yeah, you can double click the rig graph here too if you accidentally like close it. And you just double click on it here. So I'll take a high level picture of that here. And so yeah, this animation blueprint uses baked animation assets and blends them all into a final, I guess a final animation, really. Yeah, let's show this running a little bit, maybe. That would be fun. Cool, no problem. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it was nice to have somebody tagging along here. Yeah, feel free to come back anytime. I'll be on. Not sure exactly when, to be honest with you, yet, but I'll probably be doing a gameplay playthrough with my dad in the next, maybe tomorrow or the next day, and then I'll probably be on again shortly in the next couple of days to jump back into this as well. So, but my schedule is a little kind of all over the place right now. I'm trying to still take all the information in and process it before I jump into a stream a little bit. So it's kind of a pop-up stream. But if you're here for another minute, I'll jump into a kind of a play test, and I'll show you what this asset's all about. Yeah, and feel free to take off anytime. Like, don't let me hold you up. Don't want to force anybody here. Yeah, so if I hit play, see where it takes me. Kind of just in a test level. Nice. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I have number of players 2. I was testing some co-op stuff, probably. So take that down to 1. Yeah, I'll show you the juicy part here so that after that it's going to get technical again, so it'll be a deep dive. Where's progress? Oh, just loaded a bunch of assets. Computer's kind of getting slow. I have this on a really high scalability setting. Let me just turn that down. Oh, there we go. I guess there's some other birds in the scene. It's funny. Is this me? No. There we go. Yeah, and so there's actually a bunch of graphs in here. So I took a picture of the locomotion graph here. There's also the event graph. That's not it. The Anum graph, which is higher level than the locomotion. But I'll go into the locomotion quick because it's a little bit more clear as to what's happening. But you can see it going through its states here. Like if I just leave it for a moment, he's going to go from idle to idle break. Yeah, so he just moved over there. And if I start moving, you can see it's starting to cycle through all kinds of different states. So if I'm flying, it's going to be, where's fly? Fly. Right here. And in this state, I can drill into it. It gets crazy, man. Just gets so deep. Like you said, the rabbit hole. Yeah. So it's really powerful, this, you're talking about the visual side of it. So if I jump back to be able to see that state diagram here and it jumping through the walk state, the idle, and to fly, super helpful. And a lot of this you can change dynamically on the fly. So if I come in here and I take that out, compile, he'll stop flying. Well, he still flies, but the animation doesn't reflect it. So that's really handy to be able to do. It does have some quirks when you start editing it too much, that the animation doesn't really reflect what it actually is until you restart, but yes, it does. So if I look at like what's the animation that it's blending here, there's a couple. So like the red ones here, this is an animation for his brakes. So if I hold the brake down, he's got his wings kind of up. Look for the flapping. Yeah, so flapping idle hard. Right, so if I wanted him to go really fast, it's too bad that doesn't. Yeah, but if I have to compile it, that didn't feel faster. I think it's going so fast. My frame rate's not rendering fast enough. Let me go. I forget what it was before. Let's go super slow then. Yeah, it's not working. It's not even playing. Let me reset it. That might be one of the quirks. Or sometimes it's like, is it play rate basis? Oh, play rate. Yeah, I'm doing something wrong here. Oh. Okay. It's using this path. Blend space. There's a bunch of animations in here. Idle, what are these called? Changed something there, but it's, yeah, that's where it's so fast that it gets awkward with depending on your frame rate. Yeah, so that's where I can slow it down. Yeah, that's super, super, super handy. Okay, yeah, I won't jump into too much more there. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out. Seriously appreciate it. If you wanted, if you're still here, yeah, there's a little bit of blur based on your bunch of parameters. One, like if you're looking at something close, the background goes blurry, but if you look into the distance, then it becomes sharper, and it plays with your velocity and stuff. But before you take off, if you don't mind, I would love to raid into another channel. I've never done that before, and I've been like, and I always forget. So if you don't mind, like sticking around for a quick raid, like you don't have to stay into the next channel. Like just, I would love to do that like right now if you're up for that. Be my first raiding partner and my first, like, well, you know, witness to my first raid. Yeah, all right. Okay, clicking the button raid, and we're gonna find here. Let's do. I'll bring the window up. Who are we raiding? I've never seen this window before. I've never done it. So if you have any suggestions, you're like, I know that guy. Like, shout it out. Game dev. Can we search? Search. Probably find someone in Unreal. Oh, that's gonna go everybody. Fortnite, Unreal Tournament. No. This kind of already filters it down to similar. 13 views, 14, 16. Anybody working on something similar-ish? Yeah, I won't take too long with it here. We'll pick somebody off the top. So out of the first four here. Car combat? That sounds like fun. Let's see. English too? Introductory vibe coding? Okay. Godot. This guy, Unity Blender. Yeah, we'll go with this guy, I think. Car combat. Sounds like fun. I think I've seen this guy before. Okay, we're doing it. Start raid. All right, I think we're raiding out. Thanks so much for hanging here, buddy. I appreciate it. We're in, are we? Raid, raid, raid. Overall. Can you still hear me? Oh, I didn't click the raid now button. 2 viewers rating. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna click the raid now button. All right, buddy. Have a good night. See you next time. Raid, raid, raid. All right, for those still on YouTube potentially, or watching at a future date, thank you for tuning in to Sparrow Country's Control Rig Integration Part 1 live stream, where I'm developing Sparrow Country, a developer's perspective, a series about how I animated the bird character in my video game, Sparrow Country. So thanks for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, I'd really appreciate a sub and a like. Would really help me out. So I'm your host, Brad, with Binary Goss Studio, and I hope you tune in to the next one. Later, everybody.